This podcast is brought to you by sleepyj.com/beats. If you need a beat for your next album, mixtape, or demo project, check out sleepyj.com/beats. That's sleepej.com/beats. Warning, this podcast may offend some people unintentionally. So if you get offended easily, you are advised to turn off now. And if you're still here listening, thanks and enjoy the show. What's up with the world? It's your boy CBJ. You tuned into Sleep Talkin Podcast. I salute each and every single one of you guys. Thank you for checking me out. If you're on the YouTube watching me, if you're on YouTube, not the YouTube, if you're on YouTube checking me out on Sleep Vision, I appreciate you guys checking me out there. This is episode 36 of the podcast. I hope you guys are ready for it. I have planned it out. Been a while since I've actually sat down and planned out my podcast episodes like that for you guys. Before I get into this, I want to let you guys know I just uploaded 6 beats into my beat shop. If you guys are looking for something for a project, maybe you guys want to put it on your YouTube, whatever the case may be. If you're looking for beats, go to cbj.com/beats. Check me out. Make a purchase if you don't mind. All your support is always welcomed. Also, if you guys want to support the podcast, anchor.fm/Sleep Talkin Podcast. Hit the support button. Pick a tier, 99 cents, $4.99, $9.99, whatever it is. It's all appreciated. I want to thank you guys for all that. But with all that said, let's just get into the episode. So, before I get into all the negative and dark stuff, I want to go ahead and get into some more lighthearted things, let's say. This episode is going to be pretty heavy with some heavy topics, but I want to get into lighthearted stuff. So, with that said, let's get into the NFL. As you guys know, I am a huge Dallas Cowboys fan. It broke my heart to watch the Cowboys lose to the Rams, especially coming from the fact that I live in St. Louis, and the Rams left St. Louis. They had a great year this year. It looks like that they're going to have they're in the NFC playoff conference game. They're going to be playing the Saints. The Saints beat the Eagles out, which was great because I don't like I believe the Saints are going all the way this year is what I'm going to get to. The Eagles, I don't mind the Eagles. I just didn't want them to go since the Cowboys got knocked out. I was hoping for it to be this round in the playoffs that the Cowboys would have beat the Rams. And then if the Eagles did make it, then I was like, oh yeah, we're going to go to the Super Bowl if they had to face them. But the way it was looking, as you guys know, I'm very realistic at this. I seen that the Cowboys had to play the Rams, and I seen they had to play the Saints. I knew it was going to be a tough game either way. Even if they beat the Rams this round, they were going to have to play the Saints in the next round. It was not something I wanted to see. It was going to be a difficult task to do. So being realistic, I really wasn't it breaks my heart to see them lose. But I've seen them lose so many times and so close, especially in the last, 5 years. I think they've gotten a little bit closer each year. It breaks my heart, but this year was a little bit easier. Even though I ain't gonna lie to you, I had a little bit of water in my eyes. I was really upset to see it. It just hurts, man. I want them to win so bad. I've been wanting them to win so bad for the last 10 years. I've been wanting them to win so bad. They just get so close, and it hurts my feelings. I don't think there's anything in this world that hurts my feelings more than watching them Cowboys get to the playoffs or get close to the playoffs and then it get all lost in one play. It was a good game. They were, truth be told, it looked, the Cowboys against the Rams, it looked bad. The defense just didn't really show up that day, and they didn't really capitalize on a lot of the offense they should have. Some of the players weren't where they were supposed to be. But, they're a young team. I do predict that we are going to see these Cowboys. And this isn't being a biased opinion of the Cowboys or anything like that. I genuinely believe that there's enough talent on this team that we will be in the playoffs next year and the year after. For at least the next 3 years, I see the Cowboys making it to the playoffs. I don't know if they'll make it to the Super Bowl. I'm not going to make those predictions, but I do see them with the potential. Ezekiel Elliott, if they maintain him this year, if they maintain Dak Prescott, even though I don't like Dak Prescott, I think they have a young offensive team they have the talent to develop and to make it to the playoffs. Like, I genuinely believe that. So the Cowboys, out this year again. It sucks, but they finally got a playoff win, first time in a very long time. So I'll take that. Gives me hope for the future. The Eagles, I was surprised they made it to the playoffs, to be honest with you. I was surprised they made it to the second round in the playoffs. So a lot of people have predicted them to make it all the way this year. In all honesty, it's hard to make a back-to-back year. Not many teams have that type of talent or that type of coaching to do that. So hats off to them for it to end, the way it did. But the Patriots beat the Chargers, which was kind of expected, I think. At least for me, I expected. I don't like the Chargers. I don't want them to win no more. I don't want them in the playoff or at the Super Bowl for a long, long time. I want them to go through a run like my Cowboys have been going through, and no longer to be in there for a long time, for another 20 years. I don't want them in there. But they beat the Chargers, so I expected that to kind of happen. The Chiefs beat the Colts, as I expected that to happen. Obviously, this is going up on Tuesday, so you guys have already heard these things. That's not like I got to break down the scores and it's fresh news to you, but just my personal take on how it goes. My prediction on who's going to be in the Super Bowl is the Saints are going to the Super Bowl. I predict they are going to win the Super Bowl, and Dez Bryant will get a Super Bowl ring because he was on the team for one day. I don't care. Fuck what you heard. He'll finally have a Super Bowl ring, and hopefully he won't make it next year because I don't want them to be in the running. I have a theory that Drew Brees wins the Super Bowl and retires. I think that's what's going to happen. And if Drew Brees retires, I don't see the Saints going back to back. Now, if he decides to play next year after a Super Bowl win, it's possible. He's bad. He's a bad motherfucker. He's killing the game. I believe that. I don't think I don't think the Rams beat the Saints. The Saints have beat them before. I think the Saints have a lot more threats as far as for on the offense. I believe they got a lot more. They got two running backs that are cold at it. They got wide receivers that are cold at it. Their defense ain't as good as the Rams' defense, but I think that the offense is such a threat. Drew Brees is such a threat with the accuracy that he has, the arm that he has. He can throw it down the field. He's one of those quarterbacks that I tell you, you do not let them have a minute on the score if they're within a touchdown, even two touchdowns. They can make two touchdowns with the onside kick and all that good stuff. I believe these are the kind of quarterbacks you don't let them have any time on the clock, because if they do, they could hurt your feelings real, real bad. I kind of want to see the Chiefs go to the Super Bowl. I want to see them beat the Patriots so that way the Patriots aren't in the Super Bowl. I believe they will. The problem with that is if Kansas City is in the Super Bowl and they are playing the Saints, I'm going to be upset for the Kansas City team because I really like the team. Patrick Mahomes, he's a very good quarterback. I am thoroughly surprised that he's had the season that he had. They said he was this good last year. They just were trying to let the quarterback finish out the season. But, it is what it is. If it comes down to Kansas City and the Saints in the Super Bowl, sorry, Drew Brees is going to win. And I think if it comes down to the Patriots and the Saints, Drew Brees is going to win. Now, on the flip side, if Kansas City beats out the Patriots and it's the Rams, I'm all in on Kansas City beating the Rams. Hell yeah, full force Kansas City. Fuck them Rams. That's the way I feel about them Rams. Not because I hated the Rams for leaving. I don't hate the Rams for leaving. I actually didn't like the Rams when they were here because they interrupted my Cowboys games by being here. But when they were here, I was able to see a few games, so I did like it for that aspect. I hope we get a football team sometime soon. Maybe I might be relocating, but we'll explore that whenever we get there. Anyways, so let's move on. Let's get into the fuckery. Let's get into the dumb shit. All right. Government shutdown. As of right now, see, I am recording this Sunday night. We're actually Monday morning at 1:30 in the morning. I'm recording this right now. And as of right now, the government is still shut down. So by the time this is uploaded, it may be changed, but I don't think so because The president is saying that he will not open up until he gets the funding for his wall, which is, I think, is stupid. If you guys don't know the big deal about this wall, or my problem with Trump at this point, is he's not doing anything that isn't, like, nothing that he's doing is his original thought. Like, the problem with what he's doing right now is all of his things that he's enforcing have been things that we have done in the past. And I say in the past, meaning this wall, for instance. This wall was passed back when George W. Bush was in office. George W. Got it passed as a security measure for the 9/11 situation. But the thing is, the Congress said it wasn't feasible, that it was going to cost too much money, that to build a wall, especially that close to the border, there's too much the land wasn't secure enough. It just financially just didn't make no sense, basically. So they never moved forward. Obama went in office. He didn't see no need for it, so he didn't push it forward either. Here comes Trump on his fucking high horse. He decides that he wants to come along and he's going to enforce all the laws that were once, well, he wants to enforce all the laws, rules, and things that were passed, and he feels like that they're going to, he's going to get the credit for them. If he gets them passed, if he gets all this stuff passed, he's going to get the credit for it. And he thinks that's, it's going to feed his ego. But truth of the matter, that wall was George W.'s wall. The other thing about this is, we know it's a waste of money. There's no reason for it. If people are sneaking over into America, they're going through tunnels. They're swimming across the river. They're gonna find a way. They're getting smuggled in through cars. They're getting smuggled in through cargo. However, if they want in, they can fly over here. They can climb that wall. They can, whatever they want to do. They can. There's a way to get over here if they want to get here illegally. So I don't feel like we should waste the billions of dollars. And I think last I seen that the GoFundMe that they have is like up to $20 million, which is ridiculous. I cannot believe that people are actually putting money into this GoFundMe to do that. But fuck it. You guys want to fund that wall, do it. Do your thing. I don't care. Fuck it. It's your money. I won't be doing that. But nonetheless, Bill Clinton had the longest government shutdown, which was 21 days. At this point, we are passing that 21-day mark. So if you guys are on government assistance, from what I'm hearing, it's going to be running out soon. I did see that the Congress did propose a bill that says that you can't be evicted, can't ruin your credit, and things like that. So we'll see about that. I'm not sure how factual it is. I don't know how that's going to work, but you have to be a government worker or government assisted for that to be a thing. So good luck to them. Hopefully it does work out for them. Moving on. I seen this like absurd story that this 12-year-old killed her mother because she took her phone away. Yes, you heard me right. Her cell phone was taken away. This young girl threw such a fit, killed her mom. I couldn't read it just because I can't believe that she would do that. Like, it's your mom and it's a phone. Like, bruh, can you not get your shit to, like, oh my goodness, like a phone? Like, you killed your mom, ruined your life. I'm talking about the rest of your life is fucked up because you couldn't go without your phone for a couple hours, maybe a day, maybe I don't know how long it was, but it's a cell phone and it's your mom. Your mom gave you life. She's the one that fed you, clothed you, and loved you. You know what I mean? Like, that shit's fucking crazy to me. But nonetheless, that shit's crazy to me. Before I get into the heavy shit, because it's about to get real. When I tell you it's about to get real, it's about to go way onto the heavy end of the spectrum, as far as for me getting into how deep this is, how deep it's gonna go. Two things. One, I did see Congress propose a 420 bill to legalize marijuana. I don't know what all the particulars are, but hey, I told you guys a few months ago when Missouri legalized marijuana. Like I said, I think it's legal in over 30 states. Might as well go ahead and legalize it. People want to smoke the weed, whether it's for medicinal, whether it's for recreational. Legalize it. Get your money where you can get your money. whoever's in charge of doing it, but it's to regulate marijuana just like weed, so or regulate marijuana just like alcohol. So that's a plus side for all you potheads that like that shit. I might become a pothead if it becomes legal like booze, but nonetheless. Also, Vlad, if you guys don't know who Vlad is a he's a former DJ, but he has a YouTube series called Vlad TV, or and a YouTube. He's got a website, a YouTube channel, all this stuff. I watch a lot of his videos. Apparently, he posted on his Instagram a picture of Eazy-E, and it was like, wear condoms because AIDS is a real thing. Something along those lines. Maybe not exactly what he said, but he said something. It was like an AIDS awareness thing to wear condoms because AIDS is real. Eazy-E has a daughter. He's got a bunch of kids, but he's got a daughter who took offense to it. She started going off on him, saying that her dad was murdered. He wasn't killed. He didn't have AIDS. Whatever the case is, they had a back and forth. I'm just letting you guys know they had a back and forth. I personally think it's crazy. I've heard a lot of conspiracy theories about Eazy-E died from he was murdered. He didn't die from AIDS, which I will say it is a strange thing, but I also do know like the timing of like the late 80s, early 90s. AIDS was a very scary thing. People didn't know about it. It was a rough time, and I don't know if he knew he had it. I don't know if he didn't know he had it. But what I do know is, speaking to someone that had, a family member that had AIDS, I do know that in that time in the 80s, they didn't know how to deal with it. They didn't know what they know now. They didn't have as much medication. They were just giving people medication just to try it. It's just like throwing something out on top of a fire, hoping that it's going to put it out. They didn't really know what they were doing. And I don't know how far along Eazy-E was. I imagine he thought he had a cold, and maybe he thought he had it for a week, and maybe he wasn't feeling good up to, a month or two or whatever. If a lot of us, we get, used to going on the go, like, oh, I'm working out, I got a pain in my back and I ain't never get it checked out. Come to find out that pain was like cancer, and now you got this like big old knot growing on the back of your neck that's the size of another head, and then you're like, oh shit, I probably should have went to the doctor before it got irritated, and it sent me to this point of, now we can't do anything because we're beyond that point. I don't know that that's not what happened to Eazy. Like I said, from the way it sounds, he probably had it. He didn't know he had it, never got any treatment for it, and that's why he had such a very fast reacting AIDS situation. Or maybe he did know. Nobody really knows how long he knew or didn't know, so that could be a thing too. I don't know. I'm just saying, I've heard a couple of his kids that believe that. I don't know if I believe that, but either way, they had a back and forth. Vlad apologized for it, whatever. That was my lighter side of news, because it's about to get heavy. So, moving on, and we're going to get into the heaviness. So this podcast, I think I'm going to call it Everybody's Pedophiles. Or, not pedophiles, let's call it everybody's, what's a word? Not pedophiles. Pedophiles means that everyone's fucking little kids. Let's call deviants. Everybody's a deviant. That's what I'm going to call this episode. Everybody's a deviant. So, we've been, we're coming off the R. Kelly resurgence of all the sexual cult allegations, all the R. Kelly was been fucking little girls for a long time. We've known it since since before Leah, whatever the case is. It's been the topic because they did the docuseries last weekend. Everybody talked about it all week. More people are still speaking out about it. He's under investigation from, in Chicago, he's under investigation. In Atlanta, he's under investigation. People are coming forward, they're talking about it. Great. Big news. Shout out to everybody that's being proactive and getting him in trouble for, what he's rightfully should be in trouble for. But with all that being said, Nick Cannon has a podcast. I watched it on YouTube called Cannon Class Podcast or something like that, called the Cannon Class. Now, he had Dame Dash on there this week, and they talked about Aaliyah, they talked about R. Kelly, and obviously, again, we're talking about older men with underage women at this point. Now, I think I do remember Jay-Z and Foxy Brown being at least active with each other. I don't know that they were officially what you would call dating or anything of that nature. But Nick Cannon asked the question to Dame Dash about it. Now, Dame Dash kept saying that he never signed Foxy. Don't ask him about Foxy. So he pretty much washed his hands of it. He didn't want to be involved in the messiness. He tried to do his best to escape out of that. But Nick Cannon, like, he did ask Nick Cannon, what are you trying to ask me? Be honest. What are you trying to ask me? And Nick Cannon's like, well, I thought Foxy was 16 when she came around, insinuating that Jay-Z may or may not have been having a relationship or been sexually active with Foxy. Again, I do semi-recall them being an item or something of the sort, or at least, stories of them fooling around in that time frame. But I was really young, so I really didn't know. I actually thought Foxy was older. I didn't know, and I don't know how old Jay-Z was. Like, I'm not really keen on those particulars. But with all that being said, they posted it, and then I guess Nick Cannon had it on his Instagram or something, and then you had 50 Cent comment on it, and then he took it and put it on his Instagram or something along the lines. I know I seen 50 Cent post it on his Instagram. It's no longer up there now, but he did have it on his Instagram calling Nick Cannon a sucker for doing this. He's saying it's sucker shit for him to try and out Jay-Z all these years later. Basically, he's just calling him on his bullshit, just saying that it's bullshit that he did that, and that he shouldn't really be doing shit like that. Now, Nick Cannon's thing is we're living in glass houses and saying that everybody is a deviant some way, or some shape or form. Like, if you can just look at so many different people, there's some questionable things. Now, I'm not saying that he's wrong for saying, like, yeah, Jay-Z, whatever. He talked about a lot of different situations. You have to watch it. It's a really good episode. Dame Dash is Dame Dash, whatever. I like to watch him, even though he goes on some really wild tangents from time to time. Makes it hard to listen to him sometimes, but it's only like an hour, maybe an hour and 20 minutes long. Check it out if you got a minute. But nonetheless, so that causes 50 Cent to go off calling him a sucker. Then Funk Master Flex chimes in saying that both of them are washed and that they're, I don't know if he said they were both washed, but I know for a fact he said Dame was washed and a has-been mogul. And then he also, he started talking about Nick Cannon. They start having a back and forth. So now they're going back and forth, about each other's credibility and what they're doing and things of that nature. And it's, it's turning into a thing. It's all on Baller Alert if you don't follow the Baller Alert Instagram. But, they have their back and forth or whatever. So that's one thing. Again, we are uncovering a lot of things that we either knew or didn't necessarily see it the same way we're seeing it today, which is an interesting and a very dangerous thing to see. In that situation, I don't know if Jay-Z knew that Foxy was younger. I don't know if Jay-Z at 20 years old with a 16-year-old Foxy, it's not ideal. It's still technically, against the law, depending on where you are. Again, what is considered legal in every state is different. Like, federally, we all recognize 18 is the legal age of any woman or man. But in some states, I know for a fact that it's 17 in some states, and I think there's a couple states that might be 16. So it's a very slippery slope. I mean, not that I don't see. Not to say that it's not wrong, but that's a moral compass, or what you see, may or not see wrong. I think that's a moral compass when you start running down that slope, and it's a very slippery slope. But I also think it was a long time ago. It's not like it's a repeating thing of Jay-Z. Jay-Z's been with Beyonce for the last 10 years or more, I think now. So I don't think we need to be calling him he's different from an R. Kelly, in my opinion. R. Kelly was being he's got a sex cult. He's grooming young girls, not even necessarily at 16. He's grooming them before 16, and then leading them until like once they turn he's getting them at 12, 13, and grooming them to at 15, 16 for his own sexual pleasure. That's a whole nother level of sick deviancy, which is very different than when I was young. I might have dated a younger girl that I probably shouldn't have, and then but now, he's older. He's not looking at those girls. He's looking at a girl his age or a lot older, which, he was a lot older than Beyonce too. But again, I don't think she was underage when they got together. Those are, that's not, the point of it. So they pointed that out. That was a thing. And I think that's where 50 and Funkmaster Flex were picking a bone at, was like, why are you going to throw shit at Jay-Z? Jay-Z ain't said shit, ain't did shit. Why you got to bring up old shit? And I can't necessarily disagree with that, other than I don't know. This is a very weird slippery slope, if you ask me. But moving on. So there was that controversy. And then even before that happened, a random fan actually had tagged one of Diddy's baby's mom. I don't know the lady. She's a black Asian lady. I don't know. Apparently, she knew Kimora Lee Simmons. I don't know. I didn't know anything about this lady. I didn't know that Diddy had any kids outside of kids with Kim Porter. But apparently he has a kid with this lady. I think her name is Misa Hilton, something like that. I don't know. I couldn't tell you how her name was spelled weird if you ask me. But anyways, supposedly, according to this fan, she tagged her saying how Diddy had a baby with the girl who was 16 at the time, and he was 8 years older than her, which would have made him 24 years old, and that girl 16 years old, which is, again, a little crazy if you ask, most people. Like, that's a big age difference that makes you a sexual predator or sexual deviant, whatever the case is. But I look in those situations in one-offs being that, what is the circumstance? Did they lie about how old they were? Did they see them at a concert? Did they see them at college, at a college campus? Did they see them at a strip club? Those situations make a difference. If I'm at a club that's 21 and older and I see you in there, you lied about how old you were, I take you home, whatever. Now all of a sudden you're pregnant, now you have a kid. That's a one night stand, one off. I didn't mean to. Now, if it starts happening 3-4 times, you need to reevaluate yourself. And this is, these are when they were a lot younger, new to the money, new to the fame. Him and Jay-Z in those situations. So I look at those as one-offs. They're not constantly doing this. We don't have 25 different stories. We don't have today. They're still doing these things. We're talking about when they were 20, 21, 22, 23, 25. They were doing celebrity like things, meeting girls, doing whatever, and then that's how that happened. Now the Foxy Brown thing might have been a little bit different. I don't know. Again, I'm not saying I know 100% factually this is what happened. I'm just making speculations that these are people that were in a high public eye business, that you don't know everybody from the time you meet them, how old they are, where they come from, and their story. So it can be very sticky and very slippery. So let's be a little bit observational about that. But they had a little back and forth, this fan and that the Misa lady. They had a back and forth, basically saying you have too much time on your hands to doing the research like that. Again, I wouldn't say that they were pedophiles, as in like they're predatorial, they're looking for young girls. I think that it just so happened that they got caught up in some situations that might be a little questionable, depending on where they are. Again, city, state, laws, depending on what may or may not have occurred, whether someone lied or didn't lie. not making excuses. I'm just saying I try to be I try to be objective whenever I look at these type of things. But also, Toure, he's a journalist. He was a big part of the R. Kelly documentary. He's a fucking, I seen him, I followed him for a long time. He's the one that did the R. Kelly interview where he asked R. Kelly if he liked teenagers, and R. Kelly's like, when you say teenager, how old is a teenager? Like, being slick on trying to how he was answering that. But Toure, very outspoken about like these sexual deviants, the people that are, sexually harassing women, the ones that are out here forcing themselves on women. He's a very outspoken, male when it comes to these type of situations. Now, the irony in this is he was outed for sexual harassment at one of his jobs, in which he was released from. Like, I don't know the particulars on what job he was released from because I never really followed him that, toughly. Like, oh, he works for Channel 2 News or whatever that case is. I just knew him from like his news articles that he used to do for like Vibe, or whenever he worked in magazines and did stuff like that, whenever he did stuff for BET or MTV or things like the OWN Network and that, Surviving R. Kelly. That's what I know him from. Like, he does these interviews or he's in documentaries. That's what I know him from. So that was interesting to see that he himself has an accusation of sexual harassment. When you jump into that realm and you're gonna try and talk about people, you gotta be sure about your past. And he was very aware of this, so they outed him in the sense that they shared their back and forth through the Twitter direct messages about how he was just joking with her, he didn't mean to offend her, whatever the case is. But sexual harassment doesn't mean that you didn't offend them or that you didn't mean to. Like, sexual harassment is like, I say something that could be taken as a sexual joke, or anyone could take as a sexual joke, and then it makes you feel uncomfortable. That's what sexual harassment is. You don't even have to necessarily be talking to the person. I could be telling my friend Billy Bob over here, Billy Bob, I got this joke for you, and it could be a joke about, fucking a girl or doing something, anything that has to do with sexual related thing. And we could be having this conversation, and Mary Jane over here could be like, "Oh no, I felt it was inappropriate." They go run off to HR. Now I'm getting fired for this joke. Or me and Billy Bob could be like, "Yo, check out this girl, check out that girl." And again, Mary Jane over here, she gets offended. She feels like it's sexual harassment. She felt uncomfortable, and then that's sexual harassment. So that's a situation. But I do find it interesting that happened to Toure, because about a year ago, the R. Kelly allegations came back up. He was talking about his interviews, and he was saying, and he was also talking about Russell Simmons. He went hard at Russell Simmons for his accusations that he had, and he was like, my friend so-and-so, and I believe her, and da-da-da-da-da. Like, he was on the Breakfast Club, he was on Vlad TV, he was like really going hard at Russell Simmons for Russell Simmons accusations. Now, I'm not going to talk about Russell Simmons rape accusations, but his sexual harassments, about how, he was, talking about how he should know me, or he would remember me if he fucked me, and I don't know, just the accusations of sexual harassment in the workplace. I'm not talking about the rape accusations. Again, these are all alleged things that were said and done, but Toure was like very verbal, outspoken about it. He was talking about it, and so it's just, like I said, it's just kind of funny. It's kind of ironic that this happens to him. And again, you're on a documentary talking about how much of a horrible person R. Kelly is, and then you have your own skeletons in the closet. Again, today's world, it is very hard to navigate in these waters, because you never know who or when somebody will pop up and say, I got you, bitch. I am sorry, that was a long-winded tangent. I told you guys it was going to get heavy on this episode. Everybody is a sexual deviant. I am telling you, it is crazy. It is a crazy 2019. Already, it is still very early in the year, and we are seeing a lot of controversial things going on, and I cannot believe how crazy it is. Also, Torre was, promoting his podcast. I forget what it was called, but he's supposed to have Terry Crews on there. Terry Crews is a savage motherfucker because Terry Crews actually seen a tweet that he was promoting that he was going to be on there, and then he responded by saying, nope, it was canceled. It's crazy, man. It is a really crazy situation. Now, a lot of people, if going with the Terry Crews situation, a lot of people think Terry Crews is crazy because he let a man grab on his dick and he's supposed to be big, muscular, and a scary black man. But I actually listen to what Terry Crews has to say because I look at it the same way he does. He is a big man, and if he beat up on a white dude, all you're going to see is optically a big, scary black man beat the shit out of a little old white dude. And then, now everyone's looking at him like he's crazy for beating a man up instead of he took it to the legal courts. He's speaking up. He's doing his part the right way. I think going the violent way, even though it's more satisfying to you personally, and it gets the point across a lot different than going through legal battles, I think. Unfortunately, that's the proper way to go, especially when you're making big money. I mean, even if you don't make big money, it's still probably the smarter way to do it. But truth be told, you got to weigh things out. Like, especially I'm not big like Terry. Like, I'm a heavy set man, but I'm taller than a lot of people. A lot of people are intimidated by my size. So I know if there's a situation when the cops are involved, they're going to treat me differently than if they treat, one of the homies that's only 5 foot and 150 pounds. He's a lot smaller than me. I'm almost 6'1", and I'm over 300 pounds. They're going to come at me like, yep, I'm going to tase him. I'm going to knock him down if they don't shoot me right off the bat. So I understand his mentality with that. Man, it's a heavy episode, guys. Super heavy. A lot for me to talk about. Before I get out of here, I want to talk about some music. It's been a while since I told you guys about some music. So this week I kind of was on an R&B tip. I listened to Tink and Deja Loaf ain't R&B. She's a female rapper though. But I was listening to both of them over the last week. I listened to Tink's EP called Pain and Pleasure. It's an EP. I really like that MIA song. I think it's really dope. I actually got on that because I was listening to her single Different, and once I checked that out, then I was like, oh, let me see what other music she has. So I listened to some of her other music, and that's where I landed on this week. I kind of listened to that mostly this past week. Deja Loaf had an album or an EP album, whatever, called Go Volume 1. Has 6 songs. She's rapping on it. It's pretty good. I didn't really get through all of it. I just kind of skimmed through it. I didn't really let all the things sit on me and listen to it in great depth. But that's out there if you guys want to check that out. Big Crit has a new album. I have not checked it out. It's 8 songs called TDT. I got to check that out this week. Moving on. Again, I just worked my butt off all weekend. I made 5 beats, 1 with the hook, but I actually took the hook off so that way if you guys want, either or, you guys can have either or. But I made 6 beats over the weekend, mixed them, arranged them, and all that good stuff. So if you guys are looking for a beat today, go ahead and go to sleepyj.com/beats. If you want to show support for the podcast, go ahead and go to anchor.fm/Sleep Talkin, and then you can hit the support button. You have 3 different tiers. You can do a 99-cent, $4.99, or $9.99. They charge you monthly. All the support is all welcome and is always greatly appreciated. And with all that said, guys, that is my podcast. That is my episode. I am sending you away with peace, love, positive light, vibes, thoughts, and prayers. Until next time, I salute you guys.